Hello, magical ones. Welcome to the Faerie Witch vlog. I'm the Faerie Witch. And you might be thinking, did I just hear horses running? Yes, you did. You're not imagining it. You did hear it. And you might be thinking, okay, I've watched this show before. I've watched this channel before. Where are the horses coming? What are we doing? We're going to a barn? Going to a horse ranch? No. No, I'm sorry, we're not. And if you're brand new to the channel, you didn't know what was going on, that's okay. Um, yes, I will explain it in a moment. For those of you who are brand new to the channel and that you're subscribers and you're checking it out again for the second time, third time, whatever, I thank you, I welcome you, and I hope you'll find this episode informative, and I'm going to try to keep it as fun as I can. So I hope you'll find some interesting information. Feel free to take notes if you're interested in wanting to do that. It might come in handy for you later in your practice. For those of you who are brand new to the channel, I am I am the Faerie Witch. I work with the fairies. I am a certified fairyologist. I'm a certified cat trainer. I am very much for animals and animal rescue. I've worked with rescues, I've worked with sanctuaries, donated to a bunch. I used to work at a pet store as a trainer. I'm an artist, I'm a knitter, I teach, I, give classes from time to time, and I do this channel. And so you never know what you're going to get, you never know when you're going to get it. So feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Please like the video, and the channel if you haven't. I'd appreciate it so much. And you can donate to us through our PayPal link, which is right here on the channel below the channel name in blue. It's PayPal. Just click on it, takes you right to it. So, what do I talk about? Well, since I cover art and knitting and cats and fairies and fairyology and artwork and all of that, encompasses a lot of things. So you might get a baking episode, you might get one about poetry. I've done a Sylvia Plath episode. I've done a cat treats recipe that I created episode. I've done some just general vlog episodes so that you see what I'm working on as far as projects or the gardening. We talk about gardening, kitties, pretty much anything that I can encompass, mainly with the fairies, and of course the fairy craft magic practice. So, I am a practitioner, and I do oftentimes talk about our magic and my magic practice and what I do, how I do it. You may do it differently, that's fine. You may never have heard of fairycraft magic before. That's great. Stick around. I hope to give you some information and you can, check it out further and maybe explore it, and maybe you'll join me in the practice at some point. So please, feel free to take notes. So, the reason why you heard running horses is, like I say, no, we're not in the Wild West, and no, we're not at a horse ranch, and no, I don't have a stallion running around my room. But I am going to kind of put some animal sounds on here because today we are talking about animals and their significance, their meanings in fairycraft magic practice, so you can use them in your own practice. Because let's face it, why would you want an animal? Why would you want to channel an animal into your practice? Well, mainly because we need more power for the spell, or we need help to do it, or it may be that the spell you're working for, whether it be for courage or protection or cleverness or safety, if you're doing a spell for that, you might want to channel an animal spirit, because that animal um, can lend their power to you, which makes the spell more powerful, and it adds to whatever intention you've set. So again, you want a protection spell. You're doing a candle spell or herb spell. You're working with all of this, and you want to make a protection amulet or something. You're doing a protection spell because you want to keep yourself safe, or you want to protect your home, or maybe you're doing it for someone else. You're making them a charm or an amulet. You're protecting their home, whichever. It might be you're protecting a particular person. You might even be protecting your own pet that you have currently. So, you can be doing this spell. So again, if you're going to do that, you're going to want to channel an animal that can give you protection. And it would be an animal that you feel connection to, or you can take it from the list. I am going to give you a list of animals and their significance, but and there's some of the books and other sources I'm going to cite for you that you can check out, and you can further, do your education, so you can decide. But someone might say a tiger would be a protection for them, and so that would be one for me because I always go for the tiger. So I would use tiger spirit or a tiger statue or tiger. I'm going to talk about it to channel that animal. Maybe somebody else would say, German Shepherd is a protection for them. Maybe somebody else would choose a lion. Maybe someone would choose an owl, that kind of thing. It depends on, you can go by the list, or you can just use your intuition, use the one that really gets your attention, that I associate this animal with protection. I associate this animal with cleverness, And let's face it, we associate animals with skills and special talents, and that's where all these cute sayings come from that we've used for centuries. It's like the eye of the tiger. They're always watching. Another one would be oh gosh, like the sly fox. Another one might be stinky as a skunk, this kind of thing. We associate those animals with those meanings. So we've been doing that for quite some time. So again, this kind of thing is not a new idea. It's just we use it in the magical practice. So I'm going to talk about that. Now, I do write a blog on Facebook, and I'm not going to push it. I'm just saying, I do write a blog on Facebook, and I had done an entry about this, couple of entries. So I'm going to be referring to that from my phone so that I can talk to you more freely about it. But I will be adding probably more information than is in the blog. So if you've already read my blog, terrific. You've already got a preface, and it'll kind of be a recap. If you've not, then this is all brand new to you. That's perfect too, and you could always go check out my blog page on Facebook at some point, and you can follow it, and that way you can see all the other information that I don't necessarily make videos of. I do on some. Not all entries are going to be made into videos. So by having both sources, you're getting a lot more information. But that's up to you if you want to do that. Okay, Mr. Horsey didn't make an appearance. Thought I'd slip him in. Okay, so to get started, we want to talk about animal significance, right? So, let me pull up my notes here. Whoops. Okay. So, animal magic, like I said, is a form of fairycraft magic that you can add to your practice if you're not already doing it. Keep in mind, now, fairies, not all fairies like animals. Not all fairies have a connection to animals. You've got the ones that, they may care for them, they might use them, they ride them, they chase them, kind of thing. And there are the fairies that eat them, so, But I'm just saying, not all fairies like animals, just like not all people like animals. But They are connected. We are just as we are connected to the animal kingdom as well. One can't survive without the other. So again, fairies and fairyland, they kind of have that same association, but it doesn't seem to be as important to them as it is for us humans. But again, you can add fairies to your animals to your fairy craft magic practice simply by working with them, in nature to help them along. So feeding the wild birds, that's helpful. Um, fairies sometimes can transform depending on the fairy. They can transform into a bird. Sometimes they might just ride the birds like a little taxi service, you know. And so by feeding the birds, you are helping the fairies. You are assisting them. And you're connecting to the fairies and you're connecting to the bird spirit as well because you're creating a rapport. Even if you never see the same wild bird again, you fed it, you gave it water, you bird bath and bird food outside. And, you know, I just saw cats fly by my window. There was like 4 of them in a race. Okay, so I mentioned birds, they went running. Just kidding. Anyway, so you're connecting to the birds and you got the bird spirit and you're feeding that bird. You're feeding that hummingbird. So you might actually be feeding the fairy too. Keep that in mind. So connecting to nature just by doing that. Like I take care of the cats out here. They are strays. The first one I think showed up at our house like 4 years ago. And poor thing was hungry, didn't have any water. It was really skinny. I felt bad for it. I wanted it, I wanted to have a chance. So I put some food and some water out. And that started it because then other cats found out and they started coming. Matthew always says they had a meeting and they all decided to congregate. So they come every time. So here we are 3 or 4 years later, and there's like 5 or 6 generations of cats still coming because they had kittens. They were either born here or born near her here, and then they come for the food and water. So, even though, yeah, we could get into all that about the cat population and all that, and feeding strays. But that's not what this video is about. This one is about connecting to animal spirits and using it in your magic. So by helping these cats, I feel like I am creating a dialogue with the fairies because these cats could have fairy spirits in them. Um, these kitties could be sent here by the fairies for some reason. Maybe the cats have a purpose for the fairies and they sent them here knowing that we wouldn't hurt them, that we're going to feed them and make sure they get strong, and when they're ready to leave, and it does happen, when they get old enough, they take off and they go and we may never see them again. So, I'm creating this dialogue, this connection with the fairies by taking care of these stray cats who've chosen us. We didn't choose them, they chose us. So I'm doing the best I can. So again, we are a cat family anyway because we have 2 cats of our own who live in the house. They don't go outside. We do the best we can to keep them warm and medicated and happy, and got toys and they've got blankets in the house. They have what they need. Outside to the garden cat family, again, I'm providing what I can afford to give them and help them. So, I'm creating that dialogue. If you find a stray dog, a stray puppy in the street, offer it some help. If you can't pick it up and take it in and call the owner, because if it has a tag or microchip or something, you could check all that and try to reunite it with its family, with its owner. If you can't do that, you can take it in, give it some food and water, and then if you're able to, take it to the local shelter or humane society and see if they can locate the owner, or at least get it a new home, if nothing else. So, by doing that, you're helping the animal, you're helping the fairies, and you're channeling that spirit too. Okay. Now we're gonna get into the magic. Don't worry. As I said, not all fairies like animals. Other ones will work with them. Um, like in teen novels and animated movies, they kind of portray that the fairy turns into an animal, or maybe it has an animal that follows it around, that kind of thing. Um, so if you wanted to work with a particular fairy, whether it be a king or a queen, um, or another specific entity in your spell work, first research what animal is associated with that entity or that king or queen. So, like one of the fairy queens, she's associated with ravens. Another one is associated with a cat. Freya is she's not really. There's some people will say she's a Norse goddess and fairy related. Others argue and say no. But she had two cats, two black cats, that were with her. She was pulled her chariot, this kind of thing. But I'm talking about the fairies, kings and queens. The king of the leprechauns, he's Finvara, King Finvara. He's associated with horses because he loved to ride horses and stallions, and so he's associated with that. So if you wanted to talk to him or channel him or honor him, you would have a picture or a statue or a figurine or something of a horse, and that would help him to connect to you to him, and also you could channel that horse spirit as well. You can also write a spell that's specific to the fairy entity you're trying to attract or talk to, or even the animal spirit. You can write a spell to it or a little verse or something where you're going to use your intention. To attract them, to bring them to you, to show them honor, that kind of thing. So again, you could do all of that in your practice. And it's always about if they want to help you. The animal entity, the spirit, the fairy, they choose whether they want to help you or not. You can't make them. You can't make them do it. Even though you could lay out an offering table full of stuff for them. You could do everything you possibly could do, more than I've even said, to get them to show honor. And if they choose to appear to you or lend their power to you, be gracious, be happy, be pleasant, be thankful. But again, if you don't get immediate response, don't be upset. You may not get a response at all, or you may get a response in a different form from what you didn't expect. Anything can happen in the fairy realm. And again, working with animals like this is often referred to as working with familiars. Now, if you're into witchcraft and Wicca, you hear that more often. It's the same kind of thing in fairycraft magic. I mean, we're doing forms of witchcraft too, so, it's all encompassed, it's all in together. So yeah, it's nothing wrong with that. It's just often referred to as working with a familiar when you're working with an animal spirit. Now, also too, as I said, you might want to do a particular spell and you want to channel you want to channel the unicorn, okay? You want to channel the unicorn. Now the unicorn is again, I'm going to give you the list, but the unicorn is associated with magic, fairies, rainbows, purity, courage, um, you know, cleansing, that kind of thing. So channeling the spirit or sending or trying to do a spell with the unicorn, you want an association, you want a visual, you want to be able to use that spirit. Now let's say you write the spell, you do the spell, you've got your unicorn, representation, whether it be a statue or a toy or even a photograph or a painting or, a print or whatever you got. You're using that. As long as you have a visual to put it in your head, that's the intention. That's the animal you're going for. That's what you want to channel. Now, let's say you do all this and all of a sudden you feel a presence and you're happy and you're like, you know what? I feel like I reached it. But then all of a sudden the image that comes into your head, or maybe you're doing scrying or the unconscious drawing, because you're trying to connect. And let's say you ended up drawing a dog and you look at it and go, well, that's a dog. Or you've got it in your head and you keep thinking, why do I keep getting the vision of the dog? It's like, I wasn't going for the dog. I needed the unicorn. But see, the animals and the animal spirit and the magic spirits, they were like, okay, we understand you want help. We understand you think that's the animal you want to do this with, but we know better. So we're sending you the dog. Use it. So if you get a different image, don't be discouraged and don't be upset, although it may be an image you didn't want. Like, I don't like snakes. If I get an image, if I was trying to channel the dog for protection and friendliness and happiness and this kind of thing, but then I got a snake image coming through. Yeah, I wouldn't like that. That makes me uncomfortable, makes me nervous because I don't like the animal. I'm not saying that the animal isn't necessary in this world and isn't important. It is. I just don't like them. But see, the animal spirit would be coming through saying, you wanted the dog, but the snake is actually going to give you more power. It's actually going to help you with this particular intention, this particular spell more. And, the spirits out there, they're like, we know better than you. We've been at this a heck of a lot longer than you have. And this is what we say you need. So I would have to accept that. I would have to show some kind of gratitude and say, okay, and then I have to figure out how to incorporate or how to use it into the spell. And that way, spirits are like, okay, we're helping you. You just take our suggestion instead, and this is going to get you a better outlook or outcome of what you're looking for and what you were going for. So animals are familiars. Familiars are power animals, okay? They've got more spark, they've got more strength, they've got more energy, all those things that you're generally going to want more in your spells and your practice every day. So they're going to help you out, and that's generally what they're called as power animals, okay? Now, they can augment your own power. They can warn you of danger. They can aid you with healing. They connect you more to nature and to the fairy realm and to a higher plane. So again, it's advantageous to have animal spirits connected to your practice. So as you heard, there were some cat sounds, but I was showing you a deer and a horse and a section of wolf picture. Again, we're going to talk about this. Alrighty. My screen keeps getting swiped. I have to keep going back to it. Alrighty. Also, too, and like I said when I was talking about with the animals, again, if they come through, a different animal comes through than what you were expecting, there was a reason for it. So you need to look at it and you need to examine it. Even if you don't like the animal, there was a reason. So either way, try to figure out if the animal represents the issue that you're currently having that you're doing the spell for, or if it is it's offering tips on how to resolve whatever issue. So again, animal spirits can do a whole bunch of things to aid you in your practice. Now, if you want to have the animal spirit lend you some power, or to protect you, you could actually wear something that physically represents the animal. So you could make your own little mask. You can use Halloween decorations or Halloween costume parts. You could put on the cat ears and the nose, and and then the eyes, and you can actually really go into this. You could really put on the whole outfit if you felt that would help you channel more power, more strength from that animal. If not, if you don't want to go that elaborate, you don't have to. You could just wear a little something. You could use face paint if you wanted to. Or not at all. You don't have to go with the cosplay kind of look. But if you wanted to do that, if you felt that that would aid you and get more power and make you feel more of that animal coming through, then dress up like the dog, dress up like the cat, put on the wolf mask, uh, do the tiger face paint. It helps you get in the mindset. It helps you connect to the animal, especially if you don't have a physical, representation. If you don't have something that you can use to look at, even if it's just a photo on your phone or, whatever, you can do that. But again, too, the more effort you put into a spell, the better it's going to be, the more powerful it's going to be, and the more personal it's going to be, which also means more power. So if you go through the effort and actually put on the physical representation of a cat, or the dog or whatever, you'll be channeling more of that animal and its power to you and to your spell. But you don't have to do it, like I said. It would aid you, And it is important too that you connect your subconscious to that animal. You want to be able to ground yourself after the spell, and the animal spirit, once it's departed, you want to be able to ground yourself, like I say. So you've got to be able to have something light to eat. Take a few minutes to kind of meditate and make sure you're fully back in yourself, kind of thing, that you're aware of your surroundings, you know what's happening, you've come out of the protective circle or whatever, and you may still feel the animal around you and near you, but as long as you're, you know, in control, that's good. Okay? If you don't feel in control, then you need to get yourself into control. You need to be calm, you need to be relaxed, and you need to be able to say, okay, I'm in command of this, And that way it helps you stay grounded so you don't lose anything. You don't lose yourself in the moment too long. Make sure I have something to eat, something solid, something, sugary, something, a vegetable or some bread, or maybe even a cookie if you're starting to feel kind of, run down, boost your sugar level a little bit. If you're diabetic, no. If you're diabetic, be very, very careful. Careful around the sugar. But you can do vegetable, you can do other stuff within your own diet, of course. Let's see. And then, of course, after your animal encounter, be sure to thank the animal spirit. Now, I've said before, when you work with fairies, you don't say the words thank you. It's an insult to them. But yet, you got to show them gratitude. So you would say, to a fairy, you would say, I am grateful for, or I offer you gratitude in response to what you did, that kind of thing. Do not say thank you. Now, to an animal spirit, you can say thank you, okay? Or you could just show it. You could give them a little bit of an offering. Whatever food you're eating, set it on a special little offering dish, and put it on your offering table and leave it there for a short time. And you could light a candle next to it, and and you'd say, I offer this up to you as my offering in gratitude for your assistance today. Something like that. Word it in your own words, but be sincere and be respectful. But you can say thank you to an animal spirit, and you need to. You need to acknowledge it. Now, some basics on working with familiars. We're going to get into the next part of this, so I have to go to my next screen. And I'm going to show you some books that you can refer to about animal spirits. I also need to grab just a little bit of water. So we're going to take a brief intermission. I'll be right back. Okay, so first of all, some animal familiars, witchcraft familiars books you might want to check out. This one, Animal Magic by DJ Conway. She goes into a lot of different animals, all their different meanings, ways you can use them in your magical practice. So this one was one of my main sources for this video, although I do have others, but this was one of them, and you might be interested in checking that out. Definitely. This one here, Your Magical Cats. Again, if you're focused on working with your cat, this was a really good one. Has a lot of information, spells, representations, that kind of thing. Ways you can use your own cat in your practice. And this is by Garina Dunwich. I'll try to focus a little bit. There you go. I think you can see it. So, Your Magical Cat. And this one here does cover some spells. It does cover some information about animals and significance. It has a lot of spells in it, so you can adapt it and you can use them for to channel an animal spirit or whatever, or at least incorporate the animal spirit with one of these spells for whatever purpose you might want. I know there was one. I think it was to soothe anxiety, and that one mentioned definitely working with animal spirits. So again, this is another good source, and this one is by Tess Alexander, I think it says, or Scott. This is Sky Alexander, sorry. This is Sky Alexander, there's the author there. Yeah. She's a really good source. I actually have 4 of her books. I'm reading it backwards. So yeah, Sky Alexander, she's a good source as well. There's a couple more. I will mention them in a couple minutes. But here, this is some of the list of the animals that you might want to use. So grab your pen and your notepad, and let's give you the list. Okay, so the first one is the bat. Not so, it could be the vampire bat, or it can be a fruit bat, just a bat. There's a magical connection to it because they represent strength, stamina, help with balance and harmony, patience, defense, wisdom, revenge, dreams, and intuition. Second one is the bear. They represent strength, stamina. They help with balance and harmony, patience. You know what? I messed that up. I am so sorry. Forgive me. Oh my gosh. And I can't stop this and edit it, so forgive me, forgive me. Okay, the bear is that one. Okay, let's do this way. I'm sorry, just change the word. The bear is strength, stamina, help with balance, harmony, patience, defense, wisdom, revenge, dreams, and intuition. Okay, the bat, let's go back to the bat. The bat is associated with knowledge to avoid obstacles, trouble, and barriers, and releasing bad habits or hindrances, and working with past lives. Okay, that's the bat. Okay, number 3, we're on the bee, little buzzy bee. Okay, the bee represents concentration on tasks, astral traveling, planning for the future, reincarnation, speaking to the deceased. The butterfly, reincarnation, magic, beauty, love, divination, transformation of the personality and life. The crow represents trickery, boldness, skill, cunning, and a bringer of knowledge. The deer represents keen scent, grace, swiftness, transformation, alertness, and a messenger or a guide. The dolphin represents the sea, wisdom, eloquence, freedom, change, discovery, truth, communication, trust, and balance. The dragon, protection, instruction in the spiritual, elemental magic, and adding power to your own magic. Eagle, strength, courage, swiftness, keen sight, knowledge of magic. Okay, the horse. The horse represents friendship, endurance, traveling, freedom, swiftness. Hummingbird, happiness, love, and relaxation. Nightingale, inspiration, using your talents with joy. Moon magic it's associated with. Pegasus, of course, Pegasus is not a unicorn. Pegasus is the winged flying horse. Pegasus is associated with poetic inspiration, learning astral travel, changing evil into good. So there's another transformation. Okay, and then the next one is the seal. The seal represents protection, which is cool. And the whale. The whale represents long life, music, the sea, family, friends, and trust. So that is just a brief list, and I hope you find that useful, because that is a brief list of the animals that are associated with magic that you can use in your magical practice every day or as often as you need to. So different animals, like I say, do represent different things. And in this picture, we've got, the dog, we've got a frog, we've got a cow, we've got the little bird, and each one does represent something different. And as I've mentioned, they can definitely aid you with your spells. You just have to channel the right animal with the right spell that you're working on or working with. And again, if you want to use it to channel a fairy spirit or a fairy entity, then again, research what that particular fairy likes, whether it be the pixies, whether it be the leprechauns, whether it be Queen Cleana or Queen Ane or Queen Una or like I say, King Finvara. You want to just find the association with the animal. Now again, I've said before, if you want to make it really personal and really make it good, make it powerful, you need to make it more personal. So again, if you've got, let's say you've got a favorite fairy. Let's say you like the pixies, okay? And let's say your absolute favorite animal is the cat. And let's say your favorite tree is the apple tree. And let's say your favorite rose is the rose. You could really, you put all those elements into the one spell and create your own spell. You don't have to use someone else's spell, because it might not work for you anyway. You need to personalize it. So you can tweak it, you can twist it, you can just rewrite it. And the more personal you get, the more you put into it is fine. So again, if you want to do a protection spell, and let's say the list I gave you, it mentioned the seal as a protection animal. But let's say you don't have an association or a real affiliation with the seal, but you would say, you know what, a lion or a lioness makes more sense to me. I just feel drawn to that animal. Well, then again, you would use that animal. So you don't have to follow the list if you don't want to. And you can create your own list. Let's say you just, I see this animal as being my protector. I see this one as being my guide through my issues and through the planes. You might say I see the owl as, one to help me with my studies and my education and, my career, that kind of thing. Make up your own. You don't have to follow the list, is what I'm saying. But you can, as a guide, is a way to start you off. And then if you find that that animal is just not associating with you, switch it. Create the one that does. Connect to the one that does actually help you, that does aid you in your practice. A couple more sources for you is this one, Cat Spells by Claire Ahmed. Not Namid. I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I have a couple of her books and they're good. And this one is all about working with your cat or a cat spirit. And it's got a bunch of spells, just like the title says, but it gives you some information and it does list a lot of spells that, hopefully will aid you. And so this is a good one to check out. And then the other one is this one here. This one is Fairycraft. And this one gives you a lot of information about the fairycraft and magic practice, but it's also one that gives a lot of overview. So, but if you're looking for something specific, I'd have to reread the whole thing again, but if it did, I don't remember it having a lot of sections that talked about working with familiars. They're mentioned, they're talked about somewhat, but it's a general overview. So, but it's still a good source. So this one by Emily Carding. So you might want to check that one out as well. And again, just, do some research online. Make sure you've got a reputable source that knows what they're talking about, that's, practicing it, that's using it, that's actually using this, animal spirit connection. And that way, you're getting a broad information, a lot of information. And then you can, choose what works for you. And, okay, this is my guideline, and this is what I'm going to try. This is what's working. Again, this is where your fairy journal comes in handy, your magic journal. So you can write in everything, and say, well, I did this, 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 and this, and it was from this source that recommended this. This didn't work, so I'm going to try it this way, But the more info you've got, and the more sources you've listened to or talked to or whatever, the more bigger spectrum, bigger picture you get, and then you can dwindle it down to what you need and what works for you. So, I realize this video is getting a little bit long, but I did want to give you as much info as I could, and I hope that you found this interesting. I hope that you can refer to some notes and that you can start either using animal spirits in your practice, or maybe it'll help you hone in some more, or, just kind of introduce you to the idea, whatever. But I hope that you found this video to be informative. And I thank you for watching. I really do. And I appreciate it. And to my subscribers, thank you so much. And I hope more of you will subscribe as well. Like the video, donate to us if you could. I'd really appreciate it. That would help us out a lot. And so in the end here, I'm going to I'm going to leave you uh, with the sound of the wolf, and I hope that it'll put you in the mood to communicate with the fairies and your animal spirit in your next spell.